Today, we're diving into a really powerful new workflow for UI design. It's all about customizing an AI to become what you could call a Claude designer, letting you iterate on ideas at a speed that's, well, kind of hard to believe. So let me just start with this question. What if you could completely turbocharge your design process? What if you could generate and compare, say, 5 or even 10 different UI variations, all at the exact same time? That's the core idea we're going to unpack today. Because, let's be honest, what's the big problem we're trying to solve here? Well, traditional UI iteration can be a real bottleneck. You know the drill. A designer makes one version, they get feedback, they go back and make another version. It's this slow one-by-one process that can really stall a project. So here's how we're going to break it all down. We'll start with this idea of parallel agents and a little debate around them. Then we'll get into building your own AI assistant, see the whole workflow in action, talk about scaling it up for real projects, and finally, take a peek at the future of design. All right, let's get right to the secret sauce. The thing that makes this whole speed boost possible is a concept called parallel subagents. Honestly, this is the core idea that unlocks everything else. So what are they? Basically, it's a feature that lets a single prompt kick off multiple, independent AI agents that all work at the same time. You could, for instance, ask for a to-do app, and it could instantly generate a minimalist version, a slick modern version, and a Kanban-style version, all in parallel. Now, this whole idea of using parallel AI agents is actually part of a pretty interesting debate that's been happening. On one side, for straight-up coding, a lot of people argue that a single thread is way better to avoid merge conflicts and keep everything in context. But on the other side, for more creative work, like research or brainstorming, the argument is that running things in parallel is just way, way more efficient. And that's really the light bulb moment. This is why it's such a perfect fit for UI design. Just think about how designers work in a tool like Figma. You're constantly forking designs, right? Creating variations to compare them side by side. This AI workflow is basically just automating that exact creative process. Okay, so we've got the why. Now let's dig into the how. There are really 4 core concepts, 4 building blocks you need to create your own custom Claude designer. And here they are, the 4 key pieces of our toolkit. We just covered subagents. The other 3 are a special file called cloud.md, these things called commands, and a really handy Git feature called work trees. First up, cloud.md. You can think of this file as a rulebook for your AI. Yeah, you can set its personality, but more importantly for us, you can give it hard constraints. For example, you can tell it, you must always build the UI as a single HTML file. This is huge because it keeps the output consistent and predictable, which is exactly what you want for rapid iteration. Next, we have commands. These things are awesome. They're powerful, reusable prompt templates that you can fire off with a simple / command. And they're not just simple prompts. They can even run scripts, like, say, checking your Git status before they do their main task. It makes them incredibly flexible. Okay, that's enough theory. Let's see how all these pieces snap together into a super simple 2-command workflow that really delivers that 10x speed we've been talking about. So the whole process kicks off right here with this first command. You might find a UI mockup you love on a site like Dribbble, grab the image URL, and just feed it right into this command. So what's happening under the hood? Well, this command doesn't just look at the image, it analyzes it. It actually pulls out the core design elements, the color palette, the typography, the spacing, all of it, and it saves that information into a structured JSON file. And this little file, this becomes the foundation for everything that comes next. So once you have that design system file, you're ready for step 2. And this is where it gets really fun. You just use the /iterate command and follow it up with a simple prompt describing what you actually want to build. And just look at what this single command unleashes. It reads your design system file for context. Then it spins up, say, 3 to 5 of those parallel agents we talked about. Each agent gets the same prompt and the same design system, but they each interpret it with a slightly different creative spin. And the result? You get multiple, totally distinct HTML files, UI1, UI2, UI3, all generated at the same time from one command. Now, right about now, you're probably thinking, okay, this is super cool for single HTML pages, but what about my complex, real-world application with tons of files? That's a great question, and believe it or not, there's a really elegant solution. And that solution is our fourth core concept, Git work trees. Now, if you haven't used these before, a work tree is this fantastic Git feature that lets you have multiple branches of your project checked out into different folders, all at the same time. Each folder is like its own isolated sandbox, which means changes in one won't mess with any of the others. So here's how that workflow looks in practice. You start with your main production code. You use a command to create several of these work tree sandboxes. Then you assign a parallel AI agent to go to work on the code inside each sandbox, totally in isolation. When they're all done, you just compare the results, pick the winner, and merge that one back in. No conflicts, no mess. It's brilliant. And you know what? It gets even better. This entire complex process, creating the work trees, installing all the dependencies, kicking off the agents, all of that can be automated and bundled into a single custom master command. One command to launch a whole team of AI designers right on your production app. This command line workflow is incredibly powerful for sure, but it's really just the beginning. So let's zoom out for a second and look at where all of this is actually going. The future is all about moving from these powerful but kind of complex commands to simple one-click tools. And the Super Design extension is a perfect example of this. It takes this entire workflow we just walked through and packages it into this beautiful, user-friendly interface that lives right inside your code editor. So what does that actually feel like? Well, you're in your editor, you type a prompt in a chat window on the left, and you instantly see multiple designs pop up on a visual canvas on your right. You can just click on your favorite, give some quick text feedback to refine it, and iterate almost instantly, all without ever leaving your editor. It's the same powerful workflow, just streamlined for everybody. And that really brings us to a final thought. This kind of workflow effectively gives you a team of tireless AI designers on demand. So in a world where your AI is the design team, what does that make you? The art director? The creative visionary? It's a pretty fascinating question to think about for the future of our own work.